in the U.S. regarding the potential applications of neuroscience to management. My co-author, James Gibaldi, is not with me today, but I must certainly mention that he is the neuroscientist on the team and the person behind certainly all of the neuroscience implications as they will be presented in this paper. So if you would, allow me. Simply stated, neuroscience can be defined as the study of how the nervous system and the brain functions. Neuroscience as a field and the study of the brain is being referred to as the great frontier, representing an area of science and study that can provide many questions and some answers. The purpose of this paper, maybe as you can tell by its title, is to examine and speculate how and where neuroscience can provide some insights into the study and application of areas of management and the study of people in the workplace. The intersection of managing and/or leadership with neuroscience was labeled neuroleadership by an individual by the name of David Rock in 2008. As Ringleb and Rock writes, neuroleadership focuses on applying neuroscience to leadership development, management training, change management, education, consulting, and coaching. As an emerging field, neuroleadership that is, we can hope to better understand the science behind neuroscience and then be able to improve leadership practices, change management efforts, and affect, in a positive way, innovation and creativity, and even employee engagement. Lieberman stated that the study of brain, particularly within the field of social, cognitive, and affective neuroscience, is starting to provide some underlying brain insights that can be applied in the real world, or work world, if you would. He goes on to state that social neuroscience explores the biological foundations of the way humans relate to each other and to themselves and discover diverse topics that have a different degree to which they can be operationalized and unambiguously tested. Topics include theory of the mind, the self, mindfulness, emotional regulation, attitudes, stereotyping, empathy, social pain, status fairness, collaboration, connectedness, persuasion, morality, compassion, deception, trust, and goal pursuit. Many, if not all of these topics and issues are applicable to workplaces and in leading the people within those workplaces. Schnaffenbuehl's white paper in the field provides us with some application of neuroscience to three such areas and provides us with some initial information. Those include leadership, change management, and innovation. Her ideas, again, are as follows. Leadership, regarding leadership, human resource professionals can readily apply neuroscience findings to their leadership development activities, suggesting the application of neuroscience behind trust and relationship building. The speculation is that resonant leaders open pathways in their employees' brains that encourage engagement and positive working relationships. It is felt that neuroscience findings are helping to connect the dots between human interaction and effective leadership practices. Second, change management. At the very least, neuroscience confirms what industrial psychologists and many managers have known for decades. We, again, people, fear change. Because the brain is hardwired to and for survival, change is usually perceived as a threat. It's thought that our brains today are subconsciously looking out for threats, 5 times, maybe a second. Some might say, why is this relevant to today's organizations? Again, good question. It does matter because when it comes to uncertainty, workplaces are certainly filled with uncertainty. Again, the great number of mergers, acquisitions in this country as well as around the world. And certainly, again, as we look to issues regarding loss of one's job, fear of the instabilities in the context of their workplaces, again, fear, stress being rising, to a new, much higher level. Third, Schnaffenbuehl and her colleagues have also reported that neuroscientists have uncovered 2 capabilities of the brain. the human brain, I should say, pardon me, tied to innovation and creative thinking. First is the default network, as she calls it, which has the ability to transcend, or even, if you would, envision what it may be like to be in a different place or time. Second, the control network. This is the area of the brain that keeps people in the task. By utilizing the strategy, leaders can engage the default network to encourage innovation. It's major. And the control network to encourage focus. It is advised, according to this logic, that organizations establish programs similar to those that are already in effect in places like Google, which allow employees protected time, if you would, as it's labeled, to work on an inspired project or of their choice that advances the organization in some way. Again, it is also advised that companies may want to establish blocks of time where and when employees turn off their email, cell phones, other forms of external communication, so they can focus their brains on a specific assignment rather than engage in, as we all many times do, multitasking. Again, David Rock, a person I mentioned before, has provided us with the greatest amount of insight into the application of neuroscience to people in the workplace and work world, and more specifically, as was mentioned before, leadership and many related issues. Rock, more very recently, notes, as does Gordon, Lieberman, and Eisenberg, certainly they've identified two themes emerging from social behavior as it is governed by overarching organizational principles of minimizing threat and maximizing, if you would, reward. Second, that several domains of social experience draw upon the same brain networks to maximize reward and minimize threat as the brain networks. Another way to state it is that social needs are treated in such the same way in the brain as the need for food, water, basic needs. As Rock has attempted to further examine issues related to neuroscience and people in workplaces, he has observed, quote, "In a world of increasing interconnectedness and rapid change, there is a growing need to improve the way people work together. Understanding the true drivers of human social behavior is becoming even more urgent in this environment." Close quote. To attempt to summarize the two themes raised by Gordon, Lieberman, and Eisenberger, the SCARF, the SCARF model, does seem within a framework that captures the common factors that can activate a reward or threat response in social situations. This model, again, SCARF model, can be applied and tested in any situation where people collaborate in groups, including all types of work environments and even family or social settings. Our greatest interest lies in the application and within work environments. The SCARF model involves 5 identified domains, if you would, of human social experience. Status, the S, C, certainty, A, autonomy, R is relatedness, and F for fairness. Status is about relative importance to others. Certainty concerns being able to predict the future. Autonomy provides a sense of control over events. Relatedness is a sense of safety with others, friend versus foe, if you would. And fairness is a perception of fair exchanges between people. Rock believes that the 5 domains activate either the primary reward or primary threat circuitry within associated networks to the brain or of the brain. This model enables people to more easily remember, recognize, and potentially modify the core social domains that drive human behavior. Labeling and understanding these drivers draws conscious awareness to otherwise non-conscious processes, which can help in 2 paths, or in 2 ways. First, knowing the drivers can cause the threat response enables people to design interactions to minimize threats. Second, knowing about the drivers that can activate a reward response enables people to motivate others more effectively by tapping into internal rewards, thereby reducing the reliance on external rewards such as money. This can be viewed or applied, if you would, as the first line manager granting more autonomy to subordinates as a reward to excellent performance. It is our contention that further research is needed to examine and address possible wider implications of the SCARF model and the application of neuroscience to management. Some of the more easily identifiable areas of application would include self-management, training and development, coaching, leadership development, and the structuring of organizations, as well as, again, including understanding them as systems. If we look at self-managing, labeling, and reappraisal are cognitive tools that have been verified in brain's studies to be effective techniques for reducing the threat responses. These techniques have been shown to be more effective at reducing the threat response, the act of trying to suppress an emotion. One could see that possibly focusing attention on increasing one's sense of autonomy during a time of uncertainty, such as focusing on the thrill of doing whatever you like when suddenly out of work, could be useful and positive in self-managing. Regarding training and development experts know that people learn best when they are interested in something. Interest, as we know, is an approach state. Trainers that develop a comfortable learning environment where the participants are treated with dignity and respect, and a true, learning and community is created, will experience a greater sense of